This horror game not only redefined the genre overnight, it changed the gaming landscape forever. In this video, I will tell you exactly why. Resident Evil 4 has been talked about for a long time, and it stands in the top 20 of most lists in the greatest games of all time. I have to admit something. Before recently, I had never played this game before. I never had it when I was young. I never grew to be nostalgic for it, which further drove me to make this video. I wanted to understand what made Resident Evil 4 in particular so interesting to so many people I knew then and know now. I'm inviting you to find out with me. The Resident Evil series was known, until the release of its fourth mainline title, for its tank-controlling puzzle survival horror games. Fourth sequels in media are rarely viewed favorably, even with classics like Halloween 4, Jaws 4 or Rocky 4 in the mix. I have played Resident Evil 1 once, not long ago, which is as deep as I've gone in the series so far. I enjoyed my experience to the point where I got deluded into thinking I always liked Resident Evil. Now I remember once thinking of its fans as cringy neckbeards, but joke's on me, because I am one now myself. By the way, if you're enjoying the content so far, please consider leaving this video a like and subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started here. Resident Evil 4 brought the series truly to the modern and beyond. Sure, playing the original version now feels far from modern, but comparing the shooting mechanics and level design, the game feels much more open and skill-based. Unlike the previous games where aim felt like a quiet prayer for the aim gods to bless you with a hit once in a while. The more focused aiming helps in making the game feel very playable and makes it easier to reserve ammo for headshots. I recorded this game on a PC on the HD version of the game, but I've also played the PS2 version, and that honestly felt very easy to aim with too. Leon's razor marker purchase was well worth it.
Don't move, don't dare move a muscle.
In 2005, the norms were still being changed. The Call of Duty series had polished the first-person shooter to pretty much what it is today. The third-person shooter mostly had Max Payne, which definitely was more in line with Call of Duty. The aiming in Resident Evil 4 is more restricting, together with the classic tank controls the series had until then. It makes sense in the context of the series, but my reaction on the first try was I was shocked. But the more I played, the more it made sense. The real thing what makes this game special to me is the gameplay style. It's a mix of these two extremes. It isn't Max Payne, but it isn't the classic survival horror game either. It was in the subjective sweet spot, where threats weren't merely dealt with skill on the first try. It was more like, and the cliché is coming here, Dark Souls. It feels like the skill expression in the game is based on the game's unique style and its flow. The fact that you can't strafe but have to rotate the character like an M1 Abrams make me worry more about the horrors in the game in a sick way. I'm not a complete killing machine, even though Leon controls better than before. I mean, he roadhouse kicks like nobody's business. That definitely would give Peter Griffin something to strive for. The enemies are dangerous. You can die in a heartbeat, which pushes you to do the roadhouse kick to the ugly zombies to create this shockwave of bodies.
Here's your burger, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I need another $1.25.
Is that right? Keep the change. Roadhouse.
It feels very nice. It's campy, but with the cliché, I understand what the game strives for. It's not a tragedy of a horror story. It is an action horror story. More Dawn of the Dead than The Walking Dead.
Oh, no. No.
It's no Dark Souls, excuse my expression, but the challenging gameplay is a nice change of pace after the distinct lack of control in the first game. Apparently the development of the game, which ran for 5 years, was riddled with these qualms. There were discussions had whether or not to stick to the old mold and how much they could go in a new direction. The team at Capcom had to do 4 drafts of the game in development before finally sticking to the brave new action style. The tug and pull between old and new is as palpable in the gameplay as in the stories within the team. Many people left the project, having not been happy with the change from the producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi. Most agreed with it though. The feeling of play is in stark contrast to the previous game in the series. The enhanced takes of legacy systems like the inventory or the movement are there in a different form. They had clearly debated a lot about this, you can tell. The environments are wide open instead of the claustrophobic corridors and tight alleyways that they used to have. The dynamic camera, which was the first of its kind to have an above-the-shoulder angle, is honed to perfection. Even the characters and cutscenes had that early 2000s revolution of game cinematography, almost in a Metal Gear Solid way as well. Oh, and the voice actors are no longer random people from the streets.
Get away!
Calm down. Everything's going to be just fine. My name's Leon. I'm under the President's order to rescue you.
What? My father?
That's right. And I have to get you out of here. Now come with me.
But Resident Evil 4 is not only different from a gameplay perspective. Horror is many things to many people. The 2004 movie Saw launched the mainstream edginess to horror that ate the excitement for the genre for me personally. There are only so many human centipedes I can take before realizing that horror is more than an ew reaction or a jump scare. To me, the original Resident Evil was a nice pastiche of this genre, especially of zombie movies. The series seemed to me to be this amalgamation of different subgenres and cliches of horror, mixing it with their own lore, whose reaction, for better or worse, has escaped me all these years. I have no clue what people think about the storyline of the series. Is it good? I don't know. What I know though is that the fun action movie energy matches well with the occasional scary moments and intense gameplay, even though I know I am an unscarable macho man in real life. But saying all this, is the game scary enough to carry the label of horror? I think I undersold the mood here. Let's discuss it. The ambience of the game sparks my imagination. It's not as bombastic as later games in the next era in the series between Resident Evil 5 to Revelations 2. Oftentimes intensity in fights are carried more by the mass of waves and waves of enemies pushing you, which then would cause the shortage of ammo compared to the legacy style, where every enemy is a question of should I spend my ammo here, at least on harder difficulties. The difficulty in the design is, why is it scary then? The game has a great toolset for wiping enemies en masse, but your character is not as nimble as in many other games. To add to this, many enemies deal massive damage, or straight up one-shot you if you let them too close on a normal difficulty. The game made fighting easy, but also made dying easy. The ambience, to me, is just as scary, if not scarier than its forefathers. Personally, I felt uneasy most of the time I was playing, with the peaks being genuinely creepy, even though I'm a macho man. The horror is simply different. The atmosphere and the story sells the genre well. There are beings and concepts that are off-putting and eerie as hell. But next, we have to talk about the legacy of Resident Evil 4 and why this game even matters in the first place. Many contrarian fans might be unsure where the survival horror tag even lands. Is it only meant for the real classics that inhabit all the landmark cliches the predecessor to Resident Evil, Sweet Home, helped establish? Surely Silent Hill lands on that line. The second one too. But this? Some might say that this is action. But no, I disagree with that. There is no genre that changed as much or as abruptly as survival horror, and it changed for a reason. The years leading up to the release of Resident Evil 4, the games were being left behind in innovation. The world was about to move on. First-person shooters were fast becoming the thing of the time. The genre was not yet getting trampled in the market. so Capcom wanted to take an ambitious step forward towards the modern before it's too late. What came after was a brave new world. Gaming was never the same again. Fear released in 2005 too, bringing some survival horror tropes to the first-person shooter. Apparently it worked, as it has now become a classic as well. Later in 2008, Dead Space came out, and it was clearly in the same genre. The point is, the old guard was there no longer. The evolution of the fighting mechanics brought way to action horror, which is a direction the Resident Evil franchise held to until 2017's Resident Evil 7. Maybe I'll visit that game soon to see if it holds up. It's laying around in my Steam library somewhere. The recent resurgence of survival horror nostalgia has brought it back to the limelight. With modern adaptations of the genre like Alan Wake 2 and the remakes of the old guard with Silent Hill and Resident Evil, the world might once again remember the thrill of not being in control and just hiding. And googling a puzzle too, because what the fuck is this piano supposed to mean? No, but the truth is this. Without Resident Evil 4, we would not be here. With survival horror thriving again. Not without the brave decision of a developer to take the next step and really take their time. If you like retrospectives, essays, and gaming history pieces, subscribe to the channel. I will not disappoint. New videos every week. Thanks for watching.